We have two terrific teams ready for this first round competition, so let's meet our players right away, shall we? First, from Saginaw Heritage, we have Zach Evans. Zach is a junior at Heritage. He's a member of the appeals board, plays hockey and baseball, is on the principal's honor roll, plans to attend Syracuse University or Boston, and eventually study medicine. Aparjit Naram, is that right? Aparjit? Is a senior, is a volunteer at the hospital there, listens to music, enjoys playing and watching movies, graduates a year early, is a member of the National Honor Society, and now we're going to meet the captain, Ben Rivette. Ben is a senior at Heritage, is involved with Michigan Youth on Government and Model United Nations, member of the National Honor Society. He's a MEEP scholar and a member of the Principal's Honor Roll, hopes to attend University of Michigan and study journalism or philosophy. And rounding out the Heritage team is Tony Au. Tony is a member of the Latin Club. Multicultural Club, is also on the Principal's Honor Roll and hopes to become a historian. Those are our players for Saginaw Heritage. Now we'd like to meet our team from Kearsley High School. There we have Kate Zawacki. Kate's a junior, a member of the yearbook staff, quiz bowl, and theater. Only member of the team, she points out, that does not play chess. Hopes someday to own her own restaurant. Next for Kearsley is Brad Beagle. Brad is a sophomore, plays chess, and hopes to attend the University of Michigan and become a history teacher. Chris Schmidt is a junior, is the captain of the Kearsley team, is a student journalist, is looking to a degree in engineering from the University of Michigan. And rounding out the Kearsley High team is David Watling. David is a National Honor Society member, is planning on attending Lawrence Tech to study architecture. Those are our players from Kearsley High School. We welcome all of you to our competition. Remind you at home that Genesee Intermediate School District's Julie Pritchett is our judge for today's competition. Our scorekeeper is DeAndre Gentry. Teams are ready to go. Here are your rules for round one. I'm about to ask you a series of questions worth 10 points apiece. Player buzzing first may answer when I recognize you. If you're correct, your team scores the 10 points. If you're incorrect, the other team gets a shot at the same question. Remember, you may interrupt me at any time I'm asking a question. No point penalties for incorrect answers. However, at that point, I'll repeat the entire question for the other team. Good luck, and here we go. Its formula is AgI, and it's used on photographic plates and for making rain. David Kearsley.
Silver iodide?
That's correct. Your next toss-up teams. The Earth takes 24 hours to turn 360 degrees. How many degrees does it turn in 1 hour? Chris Kearsley.
15 degrees.
That's correct. French horn, cornet, trombone, and tuba. To what section of the Brad Kearsley? Brass is correct. This 1897 novel begins, quote, Jonathan Harker's journal kept in shorthand. Chris Kearsley.
Dracula.
Dracula is correct. Julius Caesar described this island country in Book 4 of his commentaries on the Gallic Wars. What island did the Romans invade in AD? Chris Kearsley.
England.
That's correct. Another toss-up. The name is a mishmash of Latin and Greek and means tyrant lizard king. Chris Kearsley.
Tyrannosaurus Rex.
That's correct. Your next toss-up. It was the Holy of Holies, the box that contained the stone tablets. Chris Kearsley.
Ark of the Covenant.
That's correct. It is a representation of a word or phrase by means of pictures and symbols. What kind of puzzle is this? Kate Kearsley.
A pictogram?
Pictogram is incorrect. Heritage? Heritage, Zach.
Jigsaw?
Also incorrect, a rebus is what I needed. Here's your next toss-up. Sinclair Lewis's 1927 novel, Oil, was written in reaction to this scandal during the Chris Kearsley.
Teapot Dome.
That's correct. You've just borrowed $200 at 6% simple interest per year, and you plan to pay it back in 6 months, principal and interest. How much will you owe? Operajet Heritage.
$206.
That's correct. Asia's most densely populated country has more than Chris Kearsley.
India.
It's incorrect. Asia's most densely populated country has more than 4.5 million in only 250 square miles. What country is it? Ben, Heritage?
China.
Singapore is what I need. A nanosecond is 1/billionth of a second. What is 1 trillionth of a second? Ben, Heritage.
Deca. Second.
That's incorrect. Kearsley? Kearsley, Chris?
Picosecond.
Picosecond is correct. This world war involved 3 continents, North America, Europe, and Asia, with France, England, Russia, and Prussia all fighting. David, Kearsley.
World War I.
It's incorrect. This world war involved 3 continents, North America, Europe, and Asia, with France, England, Russia, and Prussia all fighting. What lasted from 1756 to 1763? Tony, Heritage.
7 Years' War.
7 Years' War. Port of Spain is a port, but it isn't in Spain. In what Caribbean country is it located? Chris, Kearsley.
Cuba.
It's incorrect. Heritage? Heritage, Ben.
Dominican Republic.
Also incorrect. Trinidad and Tobago is the answer. Here's your next toss-up. In September, actor John Ritter died of an aneurysm, a tear in the main artery carrying blood from the heart. What is that blood vessel called? Chris, Kearsley.
Aorta.
Aorta is correct. Toss-up question, teams. We call it the Statue of Liberty. What name did sculptor Frederick Bartholdi give his famous statue? Time's up. Liberty Enlightening the World is the answer. He printed the first book in England as well as the first book in English. Who was this 15th century? Chris, Kearsley.
Gutenberg.
It's incorrect. He printed the first book in England as well as the first book in English. Who was this 15th century English printer? Tony, Heritage.
Caxton.
Caxton is correct. It is the only even prime number. What? Chris, Kearsley.
2.
2 is correct. It stood from August 13th, 1961 to Chris, Kearsley.
Berlin Wall.
That's correct. Your next toss-up. In the Living Bible, the first line is translated, "Because the Lord is my shepherd, I have everything I need." What is this famous psalm? David, Kearsley.
Psalm 26.
It's incorrect. Heritage? Heritage, Ben?
Psalm 1.
Psalm 23 is the correct answer. 23rd Psalm. Both a participle and a gerund end with the same 3. Chris, Kearsley.
ING.
ING is correct. Next toss-up. They have 8 pairs of eyes, 4 pairs of legs, and produce liquid protein from abdominal gland. Chris, Kearsley.
Spiders.
Spiders is correct. She starred in Emma, Shallow Hal, The Talented Mr. Ripley, and Shakespeare in Love. Ben, Heritage.
Cameron Diaz.
It's incorrect. Kate, Kearsley.
Gwyneth Paltrow.
That's correct. Tsar is the Russian version of the Roman title. David, Kearsley.
Emperor.
It's incorrect. Operajet, Heritage.
Caesar.
That's incorrect. I was going to say the Roman title Caesar. What is the German version of the same word? So the answer I was looking for there was Kaiser. Here's your next toss-up. The search engine Google claims to search 3,307,998,701 pages. In scientific notation, that's 3.3 times What power? Chris Kearsley.
Ninth power.
Ninth power is correct. Your next toss-up. The bicentennial of the United States was celebrated... Chris Kearsley.
Gerald Ford.
That's incorrect. Nice try. The bicentennial of the United States was celebrated in 1976. In what year was our sesquicentennial celebrated? Time's up. 1926 is the answer. Your next toss-up. It opened on Friday the 13th of February, 1931. Directed by Todd Browning, it starred Bela Lugosi. Ben, Heritage, you may answer.
Dracula.
That's correct. And Ben can answer because he'd already buzzed in there. That does end our first round. You heard the bell. And at this point, Heritage, you get the first crack at round 2. That's our 60-second round. I'm about to give you your choice of 3 categories. Once you've selected, you have 60 seconds to answer up to 10 questions in that category. You may consult during this round. No need to buzz in. I will be taking answers from Ben, the team captain. If you don't know an answer, you must say pass before I move to the next question. You'll score 10 points for each correct answer, a 20-point bonus if all 10 are correct. Once your 60 seconds is up, Heritage, Kearsley, you'll have 30 seconds to answer anything they missed, passed, or didn't get to, and then we'll repeat the process. Heritage, your choices for this game are all, A-L-L, you get, bar exam, or the Z-Files.
Z-File.
Z-Files is your category. Z is a rare letter, but you'll find at least one Z in each of the following answers. So keep in mind, this doesn't, it could be in the middle. It doesn't have to start or end with Z. And we will begin with number 1, the sound made by gossiping bees.
Buzz.
Correct. The NBA team from Utah.
Jazz.
Correct. The first ruled England from 1558 to 1603. The second became queen in 1953.
Elizabeth.
That's correct. The hometown of Jesus in northern Israel.
Nazareth.
Correct. In North America, it's another name for the turkey vulture.
Buzzard.
Correct. It's the largest Catholic country in the world.
Brazil.
Correct. Jane Goodall studied these primates near Lake Tanganyika.
Chimpanzees.
That's correct. Goku and Piccolo are characters on this popular...
Dragon Ball Z.
That's correct. This has become the most popular file-sharing software for music MP3s.
Kazaa.
That's correct. The most abundant mineral on Earth, silicon dioxide.
Zinc.
Zinc is incorrect, and that's your 10th one. So you got 9 out of 10. Well done for 90 points. Kearsley will reset at 30 seconds. The most abundant mineral on Earth, silicon dioxide.
Quartz.
Quartz is correct. 10 points on your side, and now Kearsley, you select between all you get or bar exam.
All.
All you get in this quiz are questions whose answers all begin with A-L-L. And we begin with number 1, the Arabic word for God.
All.
Correct. Debbie, Tim, Woody, or Ethan?
Allen.
Correct. A mixture of metals like brass or bronze.
Alloyed.
Correct. A hypersensitive reaction to pollen, food, or dust.
Allergy.
Correct. The UK, USA, and USSR during World War II.
Allied powers.
Allied powers.
Correct. The mountains of Virginia, West Virginia, Maryland, and Pennsylvania.
Allegheny.
Correct. These amphibious reptiles live only in the U.S. and China.
Alligator.
Correct. Willows wailing in the winter wind is an example of this poetic device.
Alliteration.
That's correct. Animal Farm, The Divine Comedy, and Pilgrim's Progress, for example.
Allegory.
That's correct. A large meat-eating, two-legged dinosaur.
Allosaurus.
And that is 10 out of 10. Well done. 100 points plus the 20-point bonus. So we've got a lot of points to total up. We'll do that in a moment. But first, I'd like you to meet the coaches and alternates from Saginaw Heritage High School. Saginaw is coached by Leah Markey and Peter Tyson. Alternates include Sanway Raju, Adam Burke, Jonathan Bernhardt, Philip McDonald, and Brian Thune. And with that, we will be back for our extra credit round right after this. Welcome back, everyone. We're just about ready for our third and final extra credit round, but first, I'd like you to meet our participants from Kearsley High School. Kearsley is coached by Mike Skidmore, and alternates today include Scott Thatch, Kevin Ormache, and Philip Kautz. And with that, we are ready for our extra credit round. Teams, the rules here are the same as they were in round one. I remind you that the difference is that a correct answer earns 10 points plus a shot, 10 points of extra credit. On extra credit questions, you may consult. You don't need to buzz in. I'll take answers from the captains on those. But I remind you to consult on those extra credit questions only and not on the toss-ups. The bell sounds at the end. If I'm in the middle of a toss-up extra credit cycle, I'll repeat the entire cycle. We'll play through the cycle before the game is officially over. Here we go with your first toss-up. In 1997, workmen completed a 10-year restoration of this huge statue, including replacing stones weighing more than 1,000 pounds. What is this tourist attraction near Giza, Egypt? Ben, Heritage.
The Sphinx?
Sphinx is correct. Heritage, this is yours. It's a well in which hydrostatic pressure forces a continuous flow of water upward to a surface. What kind of well is it?
Capillary?
It's incorrect. Artesian well is what I needed. Here's your next toss-up. The rate of an electrical impulse is often measured in nanoseconds. How far can electricity travel in a nanosecond? Is it 1.8 inches, 10.8 inches, or 108 inches? Chris Kearsley.
108 inches.
That's incorrect. Heritage, Apperjet.
10.8 inches.
10.8 is correct. Heritage, the epitaph of this romantic poet reads, "Here lies one whose name was writ in water." What poet died of tuberculosis in 1821 at the age of 25?
Keats?
That's correct. In this 1726 book, the big Indians and little Indians quarrel over which way to eat an egg and to go to war to settle the matter. What satirical novel is this? Time's up. It's Gulliver's Travels. Here's your next toss-up. It can be called a bandoneon, or a concertina, or a squeeze box. Chris Kearsley.
Accordion.
Accordion is correct. Kearsley, in 1872, Great Britain was ordered to pay the United States more than $15 million for building Confederate warships, especially the greatest of them, named for a southern state. Name the state and you'll name the ship.
Virginia.
Incorrect. CSS Alabama. That's what I needed. Here's your next toss-up. Of your incisors, cuspids, bicuspids, and molars, which are also called your canines? Kate Kearsley.
Your incisors?
That's incorrect. Of your incisors, cuspids, bicuspids, and molars, which are also called your canine teeth. Opperjet, Heritage.
Cuspids?
Cuspids is correct. Heritage, this is yours. The first opera commissioned for television was a Christmas opera, Amal and the Night Visitors. Who was its Italian-American composer?
Verdi?
It's incorrect. Giancarlo Menotti is the correct answer. Here's your next toss-up. You'll find his internet email address between the panels of Dilbert. Who draws this? Ben, Heritage.
Scott Adams?
That's correct. Heritage, you're a chemist who has just bonded a hydroxyl group to an aliphatic carbon atom in a hydrocarbon. What kind of a compound have you just created?
Carboxyl?
Incorrect. Alcohol is what I needed. Here's your next toss-up. It wasn't a good year for the Confederacy. In March, Grant was made commander. In August, Farragut won the Battle of Mobile Bay. David Kearsley.
1964?
That's incorrect. It wasn't a good year for the Confederacy. In March, Grant was made commander. In August, Farragut won the Battle of Mobile Bay. In December, Sherman captured Savannah. What was the year? Tony Heritage.
1864.
Say again?
1864.
1864 is correct. Heritage, this is yours. It's an ancient law of inheritance in which everything goes to the firstborn male. What is this principle called?
Primogeniture.
That's correct. Your next toss-up teams. His 1838 story, Endicott and the Red Cross, tells of a woman who wears the letter A. Opera Jet, Heritage.
The Scarlet Letter.
That's incorrect. His 1838 story, Endicott and the Red Cross, tells of a woman who wears the letter A, an idea he used again in his 1850. Chris Kearsley.
Hawthorne.
Hawthorne is the correct answer. Kearsley, in 1838, Sir Charles Wheatstone invented an optical device that could produce three-dimensional images from a pair of identical two-dimensional images. What was this scientific toy called?
Kaleidoscope. Kaleidoscope.
It's incorrect. Stereoscope is the correct answer. Here's your next toss-up, teams. Only 8 copies of the first one are known to exist. A map of Europe made in 1766 by John Spilsbury and then cut into pieces. What kind of puzzle had Spilsbury? Chris Kearsley.
Jigsaw.
Jigsaw is correct. Kearsley, Emma Thompson played Eleanor Dashwood in the movie version of Jane Austen's first published novel. What is it?
Pride and Prejudice.
Incorrect. Sense and Sensibility is the answer. Your next toss-up. It's what happens when the moon passes between the sun and the earth. Ben Heritage.
An eclipse.
More specific.
A lunar eclipse.
That's incorrect. Chris Kearsley.
Solar eclipse.
Solar eclipse. Kearsley, in the first decade of the 19th century, Tecumseh was one of the great Native American chiefs. Which tribe did he lead? Was it the Seminole, Seneca, Shawnee, or Sioux?
Sioux.
Shawnee. Here's your next toss-up. From the Greek for a gathering of flowers, this term refers to a... Chris Kearsley.
Okay.
It's incorrect. From the Greek for a gathering of flowers, this term refers to a collection of poems, prose, and other flowery verse. What is it? Tony Heritage.
Anthology.
Anthology is correct. Heritage, billions of years ago, this part of the cell may have been a free-floating bacterium. What part of the cell has its own DNA? This is a bone, extra credit.
Mitochondria. Mitochondria.
That's correct. Teams, your next toss-up question. The statue shows him seated with his cape draped around him and his dog Fallon. Let's see, Zach Heritage.
FDR.
That's correct. Heritage, it's the decomposition of a chemical compound or its conversion to other substances by reaction with water. What is this chemical process called? I may take an answer.
Hydrolysis.
Hydrolysis is the correct answer. And with that bell, we've come to the end of our game. A well-played game indeed. A lot of points scored. Congratulations to our team from Kearsley for moving on in High School Challenge. And to you, Heritage, that 240 has you in the running for our wild card spot. Congratulations and good luck with the remainder of your academic competition this year. We'll be back with more academic competition here on High School Challenge. Until then, I'm Jim Gaver. Good day. High School Challenge is a co-production of Michigan Television and the Genesee Intermediate School District.